beautiful. All right. Liquor Talk. Brand new episode starts now. Welcome on. Welcome everybody to another edition of the Liquor Talk Podcast. Podcast that tells you the more you drink, the better I sound. I'm your man, Victor. And today joining me, she is the host of the Let Go and Let Loose Let Live podcast. She's podcasting out of North Carolina. And she's a beautiful married woman. Congratulations on 15 years. It's Amanda in the house tonight. Welcome to Liquor Talk.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm happy to be here.
So how you doing today? Oh, I know it's raining down here in Florida. I don't know what's going on with you.
Yes, it is raining down here in North Carolina. We had a tornado warning, so that was fun. But it seems to have chilled out now, so I'm glad because I'm not in the mood for hiding in the bathroom.
Yes, I don't know who is. Nobody's in the mood for to be hiding in the bathroom.
Yeah, and y'all are entering into the rainy season in Florida now because I used to live down there a few years back, so I know all about the rainy season.
Yes, the only time of the year we get rain. Yes. So, what made you leave Florida?
Oh, I hated Florida so much. It was so hot, and so when we first moved down there, we lived in Fort Myers, which has got to be hands down the most racist area I've ever lived in. And I lived in North Carolina for 27 years. So that's saying a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the last year that we were in Florida, we lived in St. Pete. And I actually liked St. Pete, but it was Florida and Fort Myers had left such a bad taste in my mouth that by the time if we had moved to St. Pete first, I probably would have been fine, even though it's still so disrespectfully hot. But I could have dealt, but because we went to Fort Myers first and it just made me hate Florida. By the time we got to St. Pete, I was like, please let's get out of here. So yeah.
Dang, man, St. Pete is my hometown, and you just left my hometown. I really tell people like if you want to visit Florida, you got to come to Tampa, St. Pete,
Yeah.
Orlando, or Jackson, one of the biggest cities first. You don't go to one of the small cities because the smaller cities, that's when you're gonna hate Florida.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. We went down there for my husband's job, and it was a really great career move for him. And I've worked from home, and we homeschool, so it wasn't anything to move for his job. But Fort Myers was. I had one lady ask me if I was the maid in my apartment building, and before I knew it, oh yeah, and I called her all kind of everything that wasn't polite. And I had a lady refuse to serve me or work with me at a store. I walked in her store. She completely ignored me, refused to take my money. I was like, boo, my husband gave me $200 to come in here and play. So you just ruined your day, not mine. I'll go play somewhere else. And got called you people. And I was like, this is not the place for the child of Black Panthers. So you need to get me up out of here before I turn this city upside down. And I did like St. Pete and Tampa better. But like I said, by the time I got there, I was over Florida completely.
Oh man. Oh man, you just can't let one part of Florida. It's like I kind of felt like that about North Carolina because I lived there when I was younger. Like I lived in Raleigh, and it's just Raleigh wasn't what's up, and it was just it felt just
back in the
maybe
day,
if I would
not what was up. It was not. It's much better now, but back in the day, no.
Yeah, it's like I wouldn't mind visiting Charlotte, but it's like Raleigh just ruined North Carolina for me.
It can do that for sure.
Yes, it is. But I see you're an HBCU alum, so shout out to HBCUs in the house.
I am North Carolina Central University, and not only am I an HBCU alum, but I have worked at North Carolina Central for the last 15 years.
So why is North Carolina Central better than North Carolina A&T?
First of all, A&T, much love to A&T, but when you go there, it's a different vibe. When you go to Central, it's like, this is my home, this is my town, this is, I vibe here. I make lifelong friends here. My daughter's godmother, I met her at Central, and we've been thick as thieves since. We couldn't be closer if we were sisters. And we both have only children that are born 5 months apart, and we're raising them as sister cousins. So it's like you find family at Central. At A&T, you find coworkers. you know, you you still gonna have lifelong folks that you rock with, but it's more formal and stuff like that. But at Central, it's like you find family. That's family. My grad school mentor ended up being my big sister. Like, I just finished talking to her and telling her some family stuff. And, so that's where I found family. And that's the vibe there.
That's real. That's real. I kind of felt that way about FAMU, what I'm saying? Because like I'm
Hmm.
a FAMU alum, and
Okay.
it's like it's not like FAMU, and it's just A&T. They so disrespectful, they just love to run their mouth, but
They do
yeah,
a
when we
lot of
whoop their ass, they ain't had nothing to say.
that. Yeah, but it's home. It's home, and that's why I've stuck it out for so long. Been there for 15 years, and I don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon. I really want to, even though there's that conversation, are HBCUs still important? Yes, they are. And I will always make sure that my HBCU has what it needs.
That's real, and I'm working to get to that point of make sure I can get back to FAMU when I can.
Mhm.
Right now, a young alum trying to make it. You know what I'm saying? Once I make it, I got FAMU. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
It's
yeah,
like
I'm an old
because
mom. I'm old, so I can I can give back, and I can make sure, my I always make sure my department has what it needs. And I'm in a sorority, and I make sure that my undergrad chapter there, anytime they need and they reach out, I make sure that I contribute there and stuff like that. So, but I'm also, like I said, I'm old. I'm not a young alum, I'm old. So I can do that.
one time for the poodles, one time for the poodles.
Yes,
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 bicentennial year. Yes, one time for the poodles.
yes, yes, yes. Well, let's get into it. Let's talk about your podcast. Let go of less. What got you started in podcasting? Tell everybody about your podcast.
So it was a mistake, right? So it wasn't a planned thing. Like, I didn't just say I want to do a podcast. I am a firm believer. I call myself the hype woman of Black girl magic, right? Because I just want to see us win. Black people as a whole are, some of the most disrespected and just unloved, if you will. But then when you look at Black women, it's a whole nother level of, of this kind of, pall over us, this shadow. And my goal is to always pull us out of the shadow, to pull the Black community out of continuing the generational curses that we have, that we perpetuate, that don't need to be there anymore. And so I wanted to create an affirmation journal for Black women. Well, that one of the things that went with that, I was like, man, I wish I could talk, about this. And then I was like, well, because I love podcasts, I listen to them all the time, but I never really thought of having one until I got that, I did my affirmation journal, and I was like, well, I could do like a daily affirmation podcast, 10 minutes, brighten somebody's day, or, ease their mind before they go to sleep, depending on what time of day they listen to it. And that's how it was born. But it was never like, I want to do a podcast. Ironically, even though I'm a college professor, ironically, I get nervous speaking in front of groups and stuff like that. So it was never like my goal to have people out there knowing that there are hundreds of people listening to me talk. And it just was born from that. And I love it. I get messages from people saying, I listen to you before I go to work, and I don't go to work so mad and stuff like that. So I'm glad that it's doing what I hoped that it would do. But it was kind of like, almost a mistake that it happened.
Yeah. Hey, I understand that sometimes your mistake, what you think is a mistake, might be actually meant to happen. It's like, and
Mhm.
I understand the public speaking aspect of it, getting nervous. But see, the beautiful thing about podcasting is you ain't doing that in front of nobody. You usually at your home, and people, they can just hit play wherever they're at. Now, if you had to do it in front of people, I could probably understand where you would get nervous and stuff. So.
Yeah, yeah. The doing it at home thing is clutch, because otherwise I would need my smelling salts. I would need to be revived. So yeah.
That's real. That's real. I totally get that. So, but how do you get nervous when you're a college professor? I'm pretty sure you guys sit up in front of students every day and talk to them.
It's ridiculous. So when I used to teach face-to-face classes, the first day of classes, I would be so like shaking nervous because it's a group of people. And I'd have to have like the conversation with myself, like, Amanda, seriously, get it together. You are the professor. You're the one. I was a college professor at 28. So I was always worried about, are they going to view me as a professor versus, you know, too young. I started out, my first teaching gig was at a community college where I was teaching retired military. So to them, I was just this little girl in there teaching, and some of them told me about myself. I had one, I'll never forget. I had one student, he was 68 years old, and I was 28. So clearly, he old enough to be my dad, maybe my grandfather. And he said something, and we were going over the Harlem Renaissance and Langston Hughes. And he was like, "Girl, what do you know about Langston Hughes?" I said, "I don't know. You tell me. You were around with him." And after that, I clapped back, and after that, he liked me and he stopped messing with me. But it was always, and then when you're teaching at a non-HBCU, it's always, are they going to give me a hard time because I'm a Black teacher? I'm a young Black teacher. And it's always, all of that. And I just get nervous in front of groups and stuff. So, but I would get myself together, and about halfway through the whole introduction class, because I would tell my students, I said, we're all adults here. It's a reason why I teach adults. So in the event of a fire, a bug, or a shooter, I will see you outside. Make your way out. And my students would always be like, "You're not going to help us get out?" We're adults. In the case of a bug, a fire, or a shooter, I will see you outside. And I meant it.
Wow.
And I meant it. And they found out one day I was teaching and a roach dropped from the ceiling. And they said they had never seen somebody move that fast. I was out of there. I do not do bugs, and I was out of there. So yeah,
Oh hell no, man. They can't be having bugs in the damn school.
yes, that roach dropped, and it dropped from the ceiling, and then it scurried off. Like, it fell out of the ceiling and scurried off, and I was like, "All right." And I grabbed my book, and I was out of the classroom and down the stairs. I do not play with bugs.
I get it. I get it. I don't know anybody that plays bugs. I was at work today, and they pranked my supervisor with a fake bug. I heard her scream. I'm like, what the hell happened? I think a couple of the other people busted out laughing. I'm like, y'all had this lady screaming. I'm thinking something happened, and it was a damn bug.
Yep.
Man.
Yep. My mama tried to play and bring a frog in the house last week to show my daughter. I have an 8-year-old, and she wanted to show my daughter the frog. So she caught the frog in like a little bowl and tried to bring it upstairs. When I tell you I tried to free climb my wall, I was like, "Mama, I will send you home. Get out of here with that frog. I'm not playing with you. You go home tonight. You will go home." I tried to literally scale my own wall. I don't play
Oh
with,
hell, not scale your home wall.
try to scale the wall. I do not play with amphibians either.
I see. I see. Wow. So tell me, what have you learned about What have you learned about yourself through podcasting?
I actually like it. I like the podcasting. I had to get out of my own head. So I have a producer. Shout out to PJ Ryan. He is my producer, and I am used to writing out my lesson plans when I tutor, writing out my tutoring plans and all of that, and reading from that. So one of the things that I had to learn was kind of how to freestyle instead of reading from a paper, because you can tell when somebody's reading from a paper versus they're, freestyling it and being real. And he had to break me out of that reading from a paper, which completely just discombobulated me, and I had to get my life together. But he had to break me out of that because that's not podcasting. Reading from a script, unless it's a scripted podcast, and I do listen to some of those where it's like a show. But for the most part, you're doing the dialogue from you, and reading from a paper is not what's hot in the streets, so you can't do that. And so that was the biggest thing that I learned about myself, was to let it flow and let it go. and not to try to plan everything. I'm a Virgo, so I'm a planner. I like to have it all laid out in front of me, but I had to let that go. So that's the biggest thing that I've learned.
That's real. That's real. And sometimes it's like sometimes we plan it out, but then the unexpected things happen unexpectedly. Sometimes the conversation takes a turn for the best, and it's like sometimes I've had to do that on podcasts as well. I've had what I want to lay out, but then I hear a topic and we keep going and it's slow, and I'm just like, okay, let me just stay right here with this,
Yep.
as
Yep.
always. So what's some of our podcasts that you wish you would have known before you got started?
Mm. Huh. I think I'm going to go back to what I just said. I really came in thinking I'm going to write all of this out. I'm going to have it all planned out and it's going to be easy and perfect. And I wish that I had known that I needed to be kind of like free with it, because I spent a lot of time writing out these things and, organizing and stuff. And that could have just been time that I spent recording and just being real with it. And so I wish that I had known that prior, and it's crazy because when you think about it, I listen to podcasts. There's no way that what I'm listening to is scripted, except for the couple that I listen to that are like actual shows, like written shows. But other than that, there's no way that they can be scripted. They're feeding off of each other. But also, there are two or more people in most of the ones that I listen to. So that could have also been why I thought as one person, let me write this out, let me have this, planned out, as opposed to, just going, through it free, which is ironic because my best friend and I are actually developing a podcast right now. And so the things that I've learned with my own, I'm now kind of implementing with the one that her and I are working on.
Well, you want to spill some details for the people to get them on? You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and spill some
So
details.
my best friend, her name is Candace, and we are two very interesting people. We call ourselves the antisocial collective because we're like antisocial but social. And so I actually call myself an antisocial butterfly. When you look on my Facebook profile, that's my description. And we talk about a lot of stuff. And when we talk, like people have heard us talk before and been privy to our conversations, and they were like, y'all get into some deep stuff. And I was like, well, she's my best friend, so I can talk to her about anything. And they were like, yeah, but this is like some deep stuff that other people need to hear. Y'all need to do a podcast. And I was like, okay. So that's how it was developed. And we'll be talking about, we talk about a lot of like, generational curses stuff, but in a way that's like it makes you think, as opposed to the usual rigmarole, don't do it, and stuff like that. So that's what we're developing right now.
So when can people expect that podcast to drop?
We're looking in May. We're actually going to start recording tomorrow. So we're looking to drop it in May.
Okay, okay, that's what's up. Yeah, hey, quick turnaround, yeah. So you feel like you're ready for it? I don't need you getting nervous on her podcast with your
No,
friends.
she's not gonna let me. She's not gonna let me get nervous. She don't play with me.
Okay, that's what they all say. They say their friends don't play. Hey, some friends, you
Mm-mm. She does not play with me.
That's what's up. That's as long as she don't play with you, ladies
Nope.
and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Liquor Talk. The more you drink, the better we sound. We got an antisocial butterfly and a man who's only social when there's liquor involved.
Oh
so,
yes.
so I feel you on the antisocial butterfly because sometimes it's like if I wasn't doing the podcast, I'm like people get the hell out of my face. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And also, I see you're an author as well. Tell me about the books you've written.
I have written quite a few different books. So I started out as a romance author, and that's always going to be kind of like, what I go back to. I love romance novels. I've been reading romance novels since I was way too young to be reading them. I used to steal my mama's books. Um, and so that's my kind of what I started out with. And then one day I was talking to my daughter, and I wrote a book with my daughter based on the conversation that we had. She asked me what jobs could girls do, and I was like, girl, what are you talking about? Anything. And so we wrote that book together. So I have a children's book. Then I have the affirmation journal that I spoke about earlier in the show. And then I also have a coloring book for adults that is based on the superstitions in the Black community. Like, don't put your purse on the ground, or if somebody dreams about fish, somebody's pregnant, or, cut the lights out when it's storming. So, and that's a coloring book. And then I have a workbook that I created for authors to lay out their fiction book. And, um, and I'm going to release 4 or 5 more books this year. So,
Wow, you are one busy lady. You got the podcast, you got the books, you're teaching. What aren't you doing?
I'm also a homeschooler. So we homeschool my daughter. We've been homeschooling since before the pandemic. So I'm my daughter's teacher as well. So it's definitely busy days.
Wow, that's definitely busy days. Like, do you ever get tired of teaching? You know what I'm saying? Because you're teaching students, you're teaching your daughter, you're teaching people on the podcast.
I also teach authors how to self-publish books because I own a publishing company, and that's the basis of the publishing company. I'm a teacher by nature. When I was a kid, I used to line up my stuffed animals and stuff and teach them. So I really don't get tired of teaching. I like teaching. I like watching people have that aha moment where they're like, oh, right, I get it. And especially with my daughter, because I get to watch her. I've literally watched her discover life. And, oh, these are arms. What do these arms do? What can I do with these feet? And throughout her whole life, because I've been home with her since she was born. So,
Wow,
watching people and watching her grow, and, I like it. It's my favorite thing.
that's what's up. That's what's up. Now, I promise, everybody listening on Liquor Talk, I promise, this is the last time I'm going to talk about this. I promise y'all, we ain't talking about this no more. I don't care. This is the last time. I know y'all heard me talk about it last week, but I was talking to a single person last week. Well, now I had to bring it back because I have a married woman now. She laughing because she know where I'm going. The slap heard around the world. And
Literally.
in the time I've recorded, I've heard so many things like Jada has mind control over Will and this and that and stuff. So, as a married woman, do you think there's a time and place to protect that you're like, okay, husband, go defend me, or is there a time and place where you need to hold him back because keep him from making himself look stupid?
Yes, both. So there is a time and a place where, whatever I'm drinking is getting to me. Hold on a second.
Hey.
Ooh,
Yes.
all
You
right.
good?
I'm good. So, the short answer is yes, both. So there is a time and a place for everything. The thing with me is that there are choices that you make, and you are free. We have free reign to make our choices, but there are consequences that go with the choices, and you have to be ready for that. Do I think that Jada has mind control? No, I don't think she does. I think that he laughed because that's what you do. Also, in his book, he said that when he's in uncomfortable positions and stuff, he laughs. That's his kind of defense mechanism. So it could have been that he laughed, because yet again, here's somebody poking fun at him and his. But you can see, and I've seen the video from a couple of different angles. He looks over at her and he sees her face, and her face is upset. It looks kind of destroyed, like, damn, you know. And I think that's when he was like, oh shit, this hurt her. Now I got to do something. Now, I can't say what my husband would have done because he's a very chill dude. He's from Brooklyn, right? And most of the time, he's really chill. Now, what I do think he may have done if he saw how upset it had made me is he may have done what Will did once he sat back down and yelled up there, keep my wife's name out your mouth. I don't know that he would have gotten up and been physical, but everybody handles stuff like that differently. Now, would I have expected him to get up and be physical? No, but he's also not the hothead in our relationship. I am. So what I would have expected him to do is to grab me. because I'm going to make moves. It's me. I'm the move maker. So I would have expected him to put his hand over mine. I do not know what is in that, but I am not drinking that again. Um, I would have expected him to put his hand on me or, grab my leg or something to prevent me from moving because I'm the hothead. But would I, as a married woman, have expected him to get up there on a stage like that and slap another man? No, I wouldn't have expected. Now, if he did it, would I have been angry with him? No, because you felt like what you needed to do in that time frame for the situation at hand was that. But what's frustrating me about the situation is everybody's kind of looking at the effect and not the cause. Everybody's speculating on whether Will is an embarrassment to Black folks, or did this happen, or why did Jada let him do that, or did she give him some kind of mind control situation? Nobody's really looking at Chris Rock. Chris Rock made a whole documentary about Black women and their hair that touched on all of that, how we're ruled by our hair, how we're judged by our hair, how it has mental effects on us. And you got up there and made fun of a Black woman's hair. That's a problem. That's a huge problem. And nobody's kind of looking at that because he got slapped. Yeah, he got slapped. He got physically assaulted. Again, not necessarily the best way for Will to handle that. But I also have always been a person that believes that if you would disrespect me in public, then I'm going to handle you in public. I'm not going to handle you behind the scenes because that's not where the disrespect happened. I'm going to address it when it happened, where it happened. I'm not one of them people that'll be out. I'm going to see you in the parking lot at 3 p.m. Nobody, this happened at 12 and we're going to do it right now at 12:01. And so I get that, it's shocking. Will Smith is in his, what is he in? If I'm 40, he's got to be in his 50s. He's in his 50s. He slapped another man who's also in his 50s over his wife, and you're like, oh, you guys are too old for this. This family has been ridiculed from day one. How they allowed their children to be raised, how their marriage is, how this has happened, how that has happened. And eventually somebody gonna get tired of you coming for their family, especially if they feel like they are the head of the family, they're the man of the family they need to protect. Don't get tired of it. That whole August situation, that I think that was his tipping point and this was his breaking point, and he's sick of it all. And this is what happened.
Yeah, it's what happens, and many people, and I hate how people are just overblown there as those slap. But Will's from Philly. It could have been worse. It could have
Could have
been
been way
Chris
worse.
Rock laid the fuck out, and they
Yes.
are acting like, and then people are really making it more of what it is, and that's what tripped me out. They're
Mhm.
talking about, oh, he might be suspended or he might be banned from the awards because the Oscars is this. I'm like, y'all forced the bar so high when somebody black. But let it been somebody of another race. Y'all ain't gonna force that bar.
Nope. And that's another thing. And I keep seeing like Black folks saying, oh, he embarrassed us. And that is just too much. Like, for me, that is too much like, oh, you embarrassed in front of these good white folks. Now they think we out here being colored. I can't stand that. I'm gonna do what I want to do when I want to do it. And you know what? 3 degrees be damned. You run up on my family the wrong way, it's over. It's over. I've had people tell me, you have 3 college degrees and you're a college professor. Right. But you know who else I am? Amanda from Baltimore. And if you run up on my family the wrong way, I'm tipping everything over. You better hope that my very, very even toned husband gets a hold of me before I get a hold of you, because it's over. That's just that.
No, I feel the same way from Southside St. Pete. Look, don't fuck with me. Listen,
Don't do it.
listen. I'm pretty sure you rode through Southside St. Pete. If you live in
Mhm.
St. Pete, listen,
Oh, yeah.
don't fuck with me. You know what I'm saying? So, because the South, don't let this podcast fool you. The Southside
Yeah.
will come out about me and mine. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
yes.
So I feel you on the hotheadness, but it's just, and I definitely feel the point of the black folks having the mindset of, oh, we are out here, gotta can't make these people happy. That's where you gotta live your life and not give a fuck about what people think.
Right. And Will Smith has been the Black Hollywood golden boy from the beginning. He has never done anything. He has never embarrassed. He has taken everything with dignity, with calm collectiveness. He went on Red Table Talk and told you about his marriage because y'all wanted to know about it. You know, him and everybody knows that they have an open marriage, and they were separated while she had that fling. Now, do I think that that fling was creepy because he was so young and he was her kids' friends? Yeah, that's a little gross, but you know, it is what it is, and that's who she chose. And he was an adult when they had their entanglement, so there it is. But he has literally been the golden boy. He's explained his life. He's explained how he reared his children to everyone. And now, because he lost it one time, because he's tired, now y'all want to, he's an embarrassment. This is terrible. Boy, if I was Will Smith, I wouldn't give y'all another thing. He has enough money that he ain't got to come out of his house for the rest of his life. I wouldn't give y'all not near another movie, not near another nothing. Leave me alone.
Exactly. And honestly, that's how it should be with celebrities. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I got my money. Leave me
Leave me alone.
alone, because the fact that people, they put their relationship, their him and Jay's relationship such on the pedestal. They be holding to high standards. I'm
Mhm.
like, but you don't have that same energy for your friends in their
Nope.
relationship. Y'all, some people will condone somebody else cheating around with the
Mhm.
side person, and they're not even in an open relationship.
Yep.
So y'all want to hold these celebrities to the high standards, but yet you don't hold people you see every day, that see your face every day, to the same standards. So something ain't adding up here.
Yep. And then always fussing about mind your business. My business is my business. But you in Will Smith's business. You mind your business. Leave that man alone.
Yes, it comes down to the three F's at the end of the day. If they're not seeing you, if they're not fucking you, or they're not supporting you financially, it don't matter to you.
It does not matter. Mind your business. Mind the
Yeah,
business that pays you because Will Smith ain't giving you a dollar.
you know, you better know it. You better know it. Shit, you gonna earn that dollar if he does give
Hmm.
it to you.
Yep.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is Liquor Talk. If you don't know now, you know. Go ahead and pump some more liquor, because the conversation is just getting good, y'all. So tell me, how does people find their own magic? Because I'm pretty sure you've had to inspire people to find their own magic. Because I know you talked about that on your podcast as well. So how do people find their own magic and find their lane to where they can be great?
The way that I found mine was accepting who I am. You know, one of the things that Black folks have to do is alter themselves to fit into this stereotype of what Black folks can and can't do. We got everybody telling us. We got white folks telling us how to be good Black folks. We got Black folks telling us, "Ooh, don't do that in public. You know, don't be that way." Why? 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 I went to college. I got my degree so I could do. Everybody's like, "Oh, you must love school." I don't. I like to teach, but I don't like to be a student. But I knew that if I was going to get any money with English degrees, I would have to get multiple ones because they do not pay teachers unless you are multiple degreed. And then they still don't pay as much. But but I like doing crafts. I like reading books. I got bullied in school because I was a reader. You could find me at lunchtime with a book in my hand, eating lunch. You could find me when I skipped school. It was because I was sitting out in the hallway reading a book. And people would bully me because, you know, book nerd and Black girls aren't supposed to be like that. What they didn't know is that my uncle was so back in the day, back in the 80s and 90s, there was Tuesday night fights on USA Network, and they had professional boxers and they would have fights on Tuesday nights. Well, my uncle was one of those boxers, and I used to train with him. So they ran up and they got done up because you don't expect the nerd to be able to fight. Not only could I fight, but I boxed. Like I was tearing people up. And, you know, but it was because Black girls aren't supposed to be nerdy. They're not supposed to read books. They're not supposed to do this. They're not supposed to do that. And you hear all of this from society, your family, this, that, and the other, that your magic gets dulled. You don't even know what your magic is, you know? And so it's a matter of sitting down with yourself and letting those voices just get away from you and saying, what is my magic? My magic is writing in books. It always has been, it always will be. That is my magic. That is the magic that I possess, that I give myself, the magic that I share with the world, the magic that I'm passing on to my daughter. That's my magic. But it wasn't until I sat down and stopped caring about what people said that I was able to really manifest that magic. And so that's what I encourage people to do. Do what is right for you. Not what is stereotypical, not what is expected, but what is right for you. And that's your magic.
That's real. And also, you can't listen to what society says because me as a black man, as like podcasts became my magic, and you see what they be saying on social media. Oh, men don't need to have podcasts. Men need to be doing this, and men need to be doing that.
Mhm.
That's all this shit y'all say about what men need to be doing, but nobody's saying what the ladies we need to be doing. And there's a whole bunch of lady podcasters. So
Yep.
in podcasting, we all had that respect for each other. You know what I'm saying? To do your thing. Now, do I think some men have some stupid opinions that they need to keep themselves? Yeah, I think they need to think before they speak. Yeah, but that will tell me somebody to start a platform. It's
Mhm.
like you got to find that magic, and even if it's controversial. What I'm saying, hey, if you do, make sure you happy because you only get one life. You
Exactly.
can't do this again.
Exactly. And I actually don't have a problem with people's opinions and stuff like that. I feel like you should be able to say whatever you want to say. Just be ready for whatever kickback you get. I've said a lot of stuff that people don't necessarily agree with. When everybody was on Lizzo about those pants that she wore that were sheer in the back, not completely ass out, but they were just sheer. And I told everybody then, I said, y'all got a lot to say because she's a big girl and we're not supposed to be sexy. We're not supposed to wear sheer stuff. I said, first of all, please expeditiously go to hell. I'm going to wear what I want to wear when I want to wear it. But y'all are attacking her. Well, she wore that to a basketball game and there were children there. And you know who else was at a basketball game? Rihanna. And you know who else was with Rihanna? Her nipples.
Hmm.
They were there. They were more prominent than Rihanna was. And that was at a basketball game with children, but you had no problem with Rihanna's nipples. You had a problem with Lizzo's ass. That
You know what?
acceptable.
Exactly. One thing I've learned about society, they are so damn selective when they
Oh
want to enforce
yes.
the rules.
Oh
It's like,
yes.
oh, it's not okay for you, but it's okay for you. I'm like,
Mhm.
why not? Why can't y'all just keep the same energy for everybody?
Yep. Yep. The same thing when they were talking about Lizzo dancing in leotards. You know who else dances in leotards? Beyonce. I have never heard y'all say a word about Beyonce's leotards, but you got a problem with Lizzo wearing leotards. The only thing that can be derived from that is that you have a problem with that because she's a big girl. Mind your business. She got more stamina than the rest of y'all. Mind your
Hmm.
business. Mind your business. If I got out there and tried to do what Lizzo did, about 30 seconds in, y'all would have to bring an inhaler, smelling salt, the paramedics. Like, I respect the hell out of her. And everybody that has a problem with her, please see me. We can talk about it.
Hey, listen, as a black man, I definitely agree with you. Hey, our big girls need love too.
Mhm.
All size people need love too. We talked about our last episode of Liquor Talk, but the one problem I do have is people body shame for on men, but nobody's but women. Some women they're like, okay, if, but when a woman, but when they shame a woman, it's the end of the world. But they be shaming big men all the time. It's
They
like,
do.
hey, it's sad that it's like that, and it's just like
It doesn't
y'all
make
gotta
any
let us
sense.
live.
And what I've never understood is why folks can't just leave folks alone. If you see, like, I've seen pictures where they'll post a picture of like a big man and he's got like a cute girlfriend, and they'll say something like, "But I can't get a text back." Yeah, you're the reason why you can't get a text back. That big man ain't got nothing to do with you. That girl likes big men. She not worried about you going about your life. The same
Hmm.
thing when they write about big women and that you see a big woman and she's got a husband or a boyfriend, but I can't get a text back. Probably because you're a dick bag. Like, not because,
Yep.
you know what I'm saying? Not because of size. You're probably just a jerk, especially if you're posting something like this. Let that big girl go on about her business with her man and you go find yours. Why are you worried about her? Because chances are, if you are thin and this man is with this big girl, that's his preference, and he's not worried about you anyway.
Exactly.
So
It's
go
a,
about your business.
exactly. Find your magic and go about your business
Yep.
because you got to, because you know what, no matter what you do, people are gonna talk about you no matter what. And I've just said, you know what, y'all can talk at the end there because some of y'all are miserable in your own life, and to
Miserable, and you
deflect
want
from that,
others to be
you want to
miserable.
talk about me.
Yep. And I'm not finna do that. Like I said, I put a Facebook post up today, and I said I'm real peaceful these days because I used to be a serious hothead. But what does it get? I'm not gonna sit up here and keep arguing with folks and all this. And there's too many keyboard thugs that don't be real thugs in life, and I don't have time for that. But I do still have an on-site list. Go on and play with me and get on my on-site list and see what happens. But for the most
Hmm.
part, I'm peaceful. I mind my business. Life is life.
Agreed. Listen, I definitely agree with that all the way because it's like you got to be because you know what, you can't let people mess with your peace. It's like because like you, I used to be the hothead too until I read this book called The Art of Not Giving a Fuck, and it's just I've
Mhm,
learned to stop giving a fuck about unnecessary shit. You know, it's like if
mhm.
it ain't doing one of those three F's, then what do I care? You know, or actually a bonus F for your family,
Right.
and because come at my family sideways, you will see these hands. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
that I care about. Other than that, and that's just been so peaceful because you just live your life and you know it is what it is. And I
Right.
used to be
And
that
that's
way.
that's what people need to be peaceful. We've had so many, and that's when I say about generational curses. People are like, "Oh, you're saying that," and I've even had to explain this to my mother because I was raised by my mom's side of the family and mostly women. We marry boys, but we don't make them, right? So the last male that was born into my family was 1955.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we just don't. Right now, the only like average age, because my uncle's almost in his 70s, the only average age male in our family is my husband. He's 43. That's it. So, yeah.
Wow.
And even with my generation, my daughter is the only child in her generation, and she's a girl. So here we are, all girls. But I was raised by my great grandmothers. One lived until I was 15, the other one lived until I was 21. My grandmother was with me until I was 30, and my mother's still living, right? And so when I talk about generational curses, I don't mean that the previous generations cursed us per se, but there were things that those generations had to do, had to put up with, had to act in a certain way because of the times. My mother was born in 1959. She is 62. My mother desegregated her kindergarten class. My mother,
Wow.
not my grandmother, not my great grandmother, my mother, right? So when you look at that, things that she had to go through, she was a child of the civil rights movement. By the time I came along in 1981, that, was the 20 years almost. And it wasn't quite, as bad as not, it's never been equal. But I had certain privileges that my mother did not have. My mother was a child of civil rights. Her mother was a child of Jim Crow. So when you're looking at the things that they had to put up with and they had to do, that doesn't apply to me now. I can break those chains. I don't have to settle for the job that I can get because I'm black and because there's different codes and stuff. I can leave and be like, you don't pay me enough, and I'm a holla, and I'm gonna go over here and get this job where they will pay me enough. That wasn't necessarily something that they could do. They got the job and they stayed with it because they couldn't afford to job hop. I can job hop, and there are other things. So when we're looking at the generational curses, you have to think about it of things that curse the other generations that don't have to curse us anymore. And that's what I mean by that. So that's another way to find your happiness. You break those curses that don't apply to us anymore. Don't do them just because it's the way it's always been done. You don't use a dial-up phone anymore. You don't use a rotary phone. You use a cell
Hmm.
phone because we've evolved. So evolve and do things differently. And that's another way to find your happiness and your happy place and your peacefulness and to stay off my on-site list.
Yeah, stay off the on-site list because the on-site list means it is on site. Goddamn it,
On
you know.
site. On site.
On site. Ladies and gentlemen, we done hit minute 45 of Liquor Talk. We about to close it out real soon, y'all. Hope y'all been enjoying rocking with us this episode. Remember, the more you drink, the better we sound. So go ahead, pull up that liquor. I don't care if it's dark liquor, white liquor, whatever liquor you like to drink. And if you don't drink, roll it up. And if you don't do that, do something to make you happy while listening to Liquor Talk. Because this is supposed to be entertainment and enlightenment, you know what I'm saying? So do what it is. And also remember to rate this. Go ahead and rate this 5 stars wherever you get your podcast at, and go ahead and subscribe and tell a friend to subscribe. So if you haven't done so already, and also go ahead and show Amanda some love. Love her pages too, y'all. You know, because we us Black cribs, we out here grinding, we out here doing our thing, y'all. We need all the support, we need all the likes, we need it all because we trying to take over for 2022 and the 2023. So
Mhm.
lastly, the title of your podcast, how does one let go of less?
You identify what is less. You identify the
Mm,
things that don't make you happy, to identify the things that weigh you down, and you let them go. They're not benefiting you. Somebody very wise once told me, if it's not benefiting you, it's hurting you. And what is the point in keeping that around? If you know
mm,
it's hurting you, get rid of it. And it's hard to apply that to things. I had to apply that to a long-term friendship, and it hurt. I tell people all the time, the friendship that I lost was worse than any breakup I've ever gone through, but it was necessity. It had to go, and I'm better for it. It was tough, but I'm better for it. And you have to let go of less. You figure out what your less is, and what my less is not necessarily what your less is, and the next person's less, but you have to identify what your less is and get rid of it.
always, always. No, I feel you on that friendship thing. It's like sometimes when you go through your lowest moments in life, it will reveal who your real friends are. And it's like I had a friend of mine who knew me since high school. It's like, bruh, and the way how he acted when I needed him, it's like, you know what? I agree with you. It hurt, but you know what? It had to be done because you know what? I'm not about to accept this from you. You're not about to be only buddy with me when it's beneficial to you. No, you need to have that same energy when it's not beneficial to you. You know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
you gotta let go of lessons. Plus, it's like it open the door for somebody else to come in who can give you more, and also because they've always got to let go of less because you gotta let go less because it's like you ain't gonna die with it, you know. It's like
Right.
you live here once, and if you got all this stuff weighing you down, that's gonna speed up your death.
Exactly. And it's the Toni Morrison once said, and me and Toni Morrison, I love her so much. So she once said, you want to fly, you got to give up the shit that weighs you down. What weighs you
Mm.
down is less. And you got to figure out a way to get rid of it, whether it's revising the way that you see it, whether it's moving on to something else, whether it's severing, that friendship, whatever it is, you got to let go of it because it's just going to do nothing but weigh you down. You're not going to fly. You're not going to soar. You're not going to be at peace.
Always, and it's like and I do feel liberated, yeah. But you know what? And I'm just like, you know what? And I could tell some people I could tell that some people they really experience it because they got all this stuff to say about you. You know what I'm saying? On social media and stuff. They
Mhm.
want to block you, and I'm like, if you got all this stuff to say about me on social media, then why don't you just say it? Be a man or be a woman and say it to my face. Don't run, don't hide from me. You know, because hey, you can make the on site list. It ain't a
Yep.
problem, you know,
It ain't a
because
problem.
friends do turn to enemies, and hey, we
Mhm.
move on from it, and we better from it. So, and
Yep.
also people, you gotta know when it's time to let go of less. Because I've seen people in relationships that should have been over years ago, and I'm like, I guess that relationship isn't your less. And I hear the stories, and in my head, I'm like, you're sticking with them. That's not your less.
Yeah. It makes you wonder what their less is then, or whether they even can identify less. Some people can't identify, and that's another reason why I wrote the book, the podcast. I'm actually doing a campaign also where you can go on my website and you can purchase a book to be given to someone out in the community. And I just go up to people. I went up to a lady in Old Navy the other day, and she turned around like, "What you trying to sell me?" So I was like, "No, I'm not trying to sell you anything, and I'm not begging for money. I don't need money." And then I told her who I was, and I gave her one of my books. And I was like, somebody purchased this off my website so that I could go out and give it to somebody else. And she thanked me, and she was like, "Wow, okay." And she thanked me. But that's another thing that I'm doing, trying to just reach as many people I can with this message. It's just really important for me to get the message out.
Yes, yes. You know what I'm saying? I hope this helps get your message out too, So is that all you got planned for 2022? Just get your message out. What else? What else?
Some more books. I'm working on the next book with my daughter. She's older now and she's evolved into chapter books. So we're developing out because the children's book that we did with her is like one little square children book with all the pictures and stuff. And she wants to write a chapter book. So we're developing that out. I have 3 more romance novels coming out. 3 more books that go with the Let Go of Less brand. I'll be at a couple of events. I'm starting to, ease back out into the world with the out in these COVID streets, and yeah, just me. And I've gotten some notoriety on TikTok because I post myself telling my husband very inappropriate jokes and his reaction to them. So yeah, it's just keep being happy, keep chilling, keep I got an Oculus, and so I'm sure there'll be videos of me in my Oculus. I was boxing yesterday, and I dropped my controller. And the Oculus is virtual reality, so you're like in another world. And I was on a mountain boxing, right? And I dropped my controller, and I promise you, I legit looked down like, "Damn, how am I gonna get that fucking controller off of the mountain, bottom of the mountain?" Because I was in it. But hello, just take the damn thing off and pick the controller up. But I was like, "Damn, it fell down a mountain." So yeah, there'll be plenty of videos of me doing that as well. But that's pretty much 2022.
That's real. That's real. And lastly, now tell everybody why they need to tap in and subscribe to the Let Go of Less podcast.
Because every day you will get an affirmation that you can apply to your morning, take you through the day, or can take you into that restful sleep because you have listened to that affirmation, and whatever that affirmation brought up, you have let go of less that's attached to it. And then once my next podcast comes out, which if you follow Let Go of Less podcast, then you'll know when my next podcast comes out, and you can hear all of the the crazy stuff that me and my best friend talk about, because that's gonna be live. That's gonna be all the way live. Do people still say all the way live, or am I just old? I'm probably just
Hey, it is what it is, all the way live. Well, hey, this podcast has definitely been all the way live. So I want to thank you for blessing the Liquor Talk with your presence.
absolutely.
And whenever you need me to be on your podcast or your platform, remember that I might be in Florida, but I am just one DM away. I'm trying to
That's
get on
right.
as many podcasts as possible because it's
Yes, sir.
been not trying to take any shots at anybody, but it's always been people come on my platform, but they never want to have me on their platform.
Oh
I'm
no,
trying
we'll
to change that.
definitely have you on ours. Oh, for sure. For sure.
So let me know. Just let me know a date. We'll put it down. You know what I'm saying? And let's get to work.
Definitely.
And I want to thank you, the listeners, for listening to Liquor Talk. Y'all are the reason we keep going. We keep pushing. So I want to thank y'all for listening. Remember, always let go of less, and always keep pushing, keep striving for greatness, and always take a shot of liquor when it gets tough, and keep going. Because just remember, it will pass. It will pass, and click go. And it'll pass. You're gonna collect that $200 and keep it moving until the next time. Be easy, y'all. We out this thing. Deuces.